There is something troubling happening in one of the most important leagues in Europe, La Liga. Racism unfortunately has been a part of football for decades, but this year has seen an alarming rise in the incidence of racism against one player in Spain, Vinicius Jr. Vinicius Jr. received a red card this weekend after being choked by Valencia player Hugo Duro. He fought to get himself loose and received a red card by the referee, who didn't see the entire exchange where he was being choked. In addition to that, Vinny was being called a mono by the fans, which means monkey. But this isn't the first incident this season where Vinny has been the subject of racial abuse from fans, with fans throwing bananas and chanting monkey at away stadiums. If you're asking yourself, what the fuck is going on with La Liga? Players like Eto'o, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo Nazario, and others played in Spain and never really had these sort of issues. How did we get here? Where one of the greatest stars in Spanish football gets racially abused at almost every away stadium. Is he provoking the abuse with his style? Is he missing the guidance of leaders like Casemiro? Or is it simply that Spain is a lot more racist than we thought? When Real Madrid signed Vinicius, he was only a 17-year-old kid, but today he's amongst the elite. Vinicius Jr, Kylian Mbappe, and Erling Haaland are the world's most decisive young players. Over the last 2 seasons, we've seen Vinicius take a huge leap in his career. It wasn't always obvious that he was going to become the player he is today. Before we get into all the racial abuse that Vinicius has endured, we have to put it into context. Vinicius Jr.'s footballing idol is Neymar. Neymar is one of Brazil's greatest ever players. I know some people are critical of Neymar, but his abilities are unquestionable. Neymar is a special player that has the ability to win a game single-handedly, but Neymar has the tendency to draw contact and look to humiliate his opponents. Do you see where I'm going with this? Neymar is known for keeping close contact with the young Brazilian stars in Europe, acting as a mentor to them. Now, I'm not saying Vinicius plays a certain style because of one player, but even Benzema, when he won the Ballon d'Or, he said he emulated Zinedine Zidane and Ronaldo Nazario, and he tried to take many things from them and adapt it to his own game. Even Benzema suffered from racism, which ultimately led him to leave the French squad, with fans from France calling him an Arab terrorist. Now, looking at the first big incident of racism earlier this season is when a reporter said about Vinicius, and I quote, "He needs to stop monkeying around." And yes, that reporter kept his job even after that comment. These remarks were made ahead of the Real Madrid's derby against Atletico Madrid, where Vinicius was warned, "If you score, do not dance or else." The fans even went as far as to hang an effigy that had Vinicius Jr.'s jersey over a bridge, something that goes well beyond football. At the game at the Metropolitano, the crowd would whistle and boo every time Vinicius got the ball, creating a deafening hostile atmosphere. Like all big matches, Vinicius rose to the occasion, but it was Rodrigo who opened the scoring for Real Madrid. When Rodrigo scored, he couldn't wait to seek out Vinicius Jr. to dance. In the second half, Vinicius made a penetrating run off the left side, and had the ball been a few centimeters more to the right, and he would have scored Real Madrid's second goal. Following the game, there was talk about the racism that took place before the match and during the match, with many of the Atleti fans chanting mono. And although Real Madrid asked La Liga to take action against the fans that were making these racist chants, nothing happened. To put things into context, there are currently 8 open cases of racism that La Liga has filed with different courts in Spain. I repeat, 8 complaints that La Liga has filed with different courts in Spain on behalf of Vinny Jr. There were racial chants made against Vinicius at the Nou Camp earlier this year in La Liga. There was racist chants against Vinicius in the game against Sevilla that ended in a draw earlier this season. There were 3 complaints of racist abuse from the Real Madrid versus Villarreal game that ended in a draw. In the game against Valladolid, there were actual criminal charges that were filed against somebody, and they were found to be guilty. This cannot become the norm. It's clear there are too many incidents and more aggressive action needs to be taken. Blaming Vinny for the abuse is absurd, but I should point out that his style does draw fouls, and because of his ability to carry the ball, it draws more fouls to him. Players like Vinny Jr. and Jack Grealish carry the ball and they draw fouls. But because of Vinicius' brilliance, Real Madrid has relied heavily on him, using him in transitions to get up the pitch and to create moments of brilliance. Given Real Madrid's reliance on Vinicius, opposition teams focus on stopping him by putting 2 and 3 players on him at all times, fouling him every time he gets the ball. He is currently by far the most fouled player in La Liga, and there are many incidents where he doesn't get fouls. The combination of Vinicius' style and him antagonizing defenders It always gets the crowds fired up. Would things be different if Casemiro was still in the locker room? It's no secret that all the young Brazilians at Real Madrid looked at Casemiro like an older brother. And these incidents have increased since his departure. Even Cruz said ahead of the semi-final clash against Manchester City this season that Vinicius needed to find a way to live with it, hinting the young Brazilian was complaining too much. Real Madrid manager Carlo Ancelotti has come to Vinicius' aid. He's been like a father figure to Vinicius Jr. There's no question Carlo's fatherly presence has been a positive thing in Vinny's life. Don't take Vinny Jr. for granted. We're lucky to watch him play. He's truly a magician. The idea of him leaving Spanish football because of racism is not out of the realm of possibilities. All I ask you to do after watching this video is sign a petition I have below so I can send it to La Liga. I'm not asking for any personal information. I'm not asking for donations. Just make sure to share this video, to like it, and subscribe to my channel, and let's do something about racism in La Liga. Thank you for watching.